Alright, hi, this is part 2 of a Chapter 2 rewrite where I go ahead and make my own version of Chapter 2, still using Epic's ideas, but in my own way, in order to create a story that works and uses characters to their fullest potential. I want to clarify that I am not sticking to the themes or dates of each season. If you've seen part 1, this is probably very obvious, but there will obviously be people who haven't. I am sticking to the characters and factions though, so no original characters or anything like that. If you haven't seen part 1, I'll recap it here very quickly, but I do highly recommend you check out part 1 so you have a better knowledge of what the fuck is going on throughout this video. If you have seen part 1 or are aware of what's changed, just feel free to skip to this timestamp on screen now. Alright, in Season 1 we skip straight to Ghost and Shadow as alter and ego serve nothing to the plot. Throughout the season, Ghost and Shadow bases are built up and finally finish with the Season 2 update. Also in the final update, Chaos Agent and Midas were hinted at through Island and Steamy Stacks. In Season 2, we established that Ghost and Shadow are at war, with new members joining sides each update. In the final update, both teams have received recruits, with Sky and TNTina joining Ghost and Meowsles and Brutus joining Shadow. We ended it off with an event in which Midas creates a rift in the sky, and you end up helping him fight off Chaos Agent plus his goons, in which we lose. Finally, Season 3, you join the Resistance with Ocean as the leader, and the season is basically us versus Chaos Agent, who is now known as the Chaos King. Throughout the season, the Flotilla expands, and so does the King's army. We end it off with an event in which Chaos King is killed, and the reality wave is sent out by the 0 point at the end, and now that brings us to our current point in time. Now that everyone is up to date, after way too long, let's move on to the next season, which is... In the original Season 4, this was a Marvel season. It included the likes of characters such as Venom, Iron Man, She-Hulk, and many, many more. In this rewrite of Season 4, I kept some of the Marvel stuff in, but most of it is changed to fit my vision. This is my new description for the story. The aftermath of the Chaos King's reign has left the 0 point destabilizing, with icons from across the multiverse joining the fight against a new threat much larger than the Chaos King. This threat goes by Galactus. The power of the 0 point's reality surge was big enough for the Devourer rules to feel, and he took no time to start making his arrival. As the season goes on, rifts will spawn, sending in multiversal heroes and villains to defend this reality. At the end of the season, prepare your team and get ready to fight the Devourer of Worlds. When it comes to map changes, the 0 point has sent a reality wave all across the island. Retail Row becomes a Utopia, now named Perfect Path. Frenzy Farm, now named Western Wheats, goes to the past, resembling a bit more of an old-fashioned time, and Pleasant Park becomes a little less pleasant, now named Unpleasant Valley. With the final change coming to Fortilla, which has become technologically advanced by a couple hundred years and joined up with the Fort Factory, becoming Fortilla City. The center of the island has now become a desert too, as I really like that idea in Season 5 and think that's the best the map has ever looked. There's also a new landmark called Butter Barn. The Mancake NPC can be found there. Not everything has changed though. Sweaty Sands, Misty Meadows, and Lazy Lake all remain the same. We do have a Battle Pass update, however. In the original Season 4, the Battle Pass and theme was all about Marvel. However, this is not that Season 4. While 2 Marvel skins remain in the past, the rest is entirely original. When it comes to skins, Tier 1 is Thor, Tier 22 is Mancake, Tier 38 is Mecha Cuddlemaster, Tier 53 is Deadfire, Tier 67 is Bandolette, Tier 80 is Isabel, and Tier 100 is Tony Stark / Iron Man. The secret skin is different, but I'd rather save that for later. With the 0 point out and in full force, new friends and foes from alternate dimensions join the fight against Galactus. Each update will bring one new collab, with the exceptions of 14.40 and 14.50, and there would still be original skins for each update. Also, no Marvel collabs in these updates, as they are represented enough in this season as much as I want to add a bunch of Spider-Man shit. When it comes to new items for 14.0, there's a Pro Fishing Rod, Isabel's Spellbook, which can either heal 50 HP, which has a 1 minute cooldown, or fire energy blasts. It can be found by killing Isabel at Unpleasant Valley. Mancake's Healing Syrup heals 125 HP, 3 minute cooldown, can be found by killing Mancake at Butter Barn. The Driftboard 2.0, even faster than before thanks to the technology of the future, and it requires 0 fuel because fuel just doesn't exist in their time, and also because I fucking despise fuel. What was Epic thinking with that? Rift Fish, 0 point floppers, and 0 point crystals also now exist. When it comes to items that have been vaulted, Decoy Grenade, Burst SMG, Stink Bomb, Charged Shotgun, Flare Gun, and any mythic from Season 3 have all been removed. And when it comes to items that have been unvaulted, the Bouncer, Shockwave Grenade, Revolver, Epic plus Legendary, Scoped AR, and Tactical SMG have all been unvaulted. Moving on to 14.10, Tony has become a little bored and decided to set up base near the 0 point. Salty Sideways now becomes Stark Springs, with AI henchmen now surrounding the place to protect it from any potential threat. Not only that, but a new face joins the fight and takes his home at Weeping Woods. While not an NPC or boss, Kratos has added his mythic Leviathan axe, which can be found at specific chests in certain trees all around the island. When it comes to unvaulted items, Boogie Bombs, LMG, and legendary rocket launchers have all been unvaulted. When it comes to new items, Vendetta Flopper, Stark's Assault Rifle, Leviathan Axe, and Tony Stark's Whiplash have all been added. Next up, 14.20 is a big one, as the Seven drops onto the island in order to help our heroes with defeating Galactus. They have put out missing posters for a member of the Seven, which state they were captured by the Imagined Order. This is the start of Operation Cube. Over the course of the season, starting with 14.20, the Secret Skins cosmetics will slowly be unlocked through quests, which come out each week. The first set of quests will have you help prep the members of the Seven to raid the Imagined Order and save the captured member, that being the Origin, using Isabel's powers to locate the prison he is being held in and come up with a strategy to save him, with the visitor telling you what to do. The rest of the quests will have you preparing for the fight against Galactus. Chaos Stacks has become named again, this time going by Rebuild Railway. Throughout the rest of the season, this rundown chemical plant will be built into a new and improved POI. What it'll become, we'll find out at 14.50. I also think this is a good time to address a mistake I made in Part 1. Chaos Chamber was meant to be Chaos Stacks, but for some reason at the start of Season 3 I made that an unnamed POI while still keeping Chaos Chamber in the script. So sorry. The collab this update is the Master of Chiefs. His battle rifle will be a weapon which can be found in every chest. New items will be Master Chief's battle rifle and Midas Flopper. This update is starting with a bit of a cosmetic rework. The banner system would be completely updated to fit the new UI and would also have some updates. Starting off, each banner would be named, making it easier to select the one you want. Next, there will be a color changer where you can set it to any color you like and not just the background anymore. You can also change the color of the icon you've chosen. I would also add calling cards and frames for your banner. Your banner would appear between your skin and name if you're in a duo, trio, or squad. It would also appear to the person you've eliminated, or if you get eliminated, you will see the banner of the person you killed. In order to not take up space, future battle passes would also include calling cards, a frame, and a banner in the same tier. I know banners aren't important, but I think the UI and system in general is very outdated and feels out of place in the current Fortnite. Now with that out of the way, let's continue with the rest of the changes. The birthday update has started and will last until 14.40. Cake and presents will be unvaulted, and there will be a new challenge every day from the 22nd to the 30th, which will unlock birthday-themed cosmetics, celebrating Fortnite's history. The collab for this update would be with Overwatch. Tracer, Soldier76, Genji, and D.Va will be in the item shop, and Tracer will be on the island as an NPC. The Halloween update is here. In the original Season 4, the Halloween event went by Midas's Revenge. However, I plan on keeping Midas dead. I'm not going to do what Epic did and fuck around with him, making his storyline a mess. He died, he is staying dead. So, what do we do with this Halloween? Well, since this season is a multiverse story, welcome to Fortnitemare's Collaboration Cluster. Starting October 8th and ending November 3rd, every Thursday we'll add a new icon from the horror franchise. These collabs will not collide with the main ones I'm using for the storyline, so for the main collab this update, Supergirl will join against Galactus and will be on the island as an NPC. For the Fortnitemares collab, the first one will be Jason from Friday the 13th franchise, and will release October 8th. The same day Fortnitemares starts. The second collab will be Pennywise from the It franchise and will release October 15th. In terms of content, Pumpkin Launcher will be unvaulted and new Halloween candies will be added. This would be the second part of the Fortnitemares event. The Witch Broom will be added and the Fiend Hunter crossbow would return. For the main collaboration, Shulk from Xenoblade Chronicles would be on the island as the NPC. For the Fortnitemares collabs, Frankenstein and the Mummy. Let's move away from Fortnitemares for a bit to talk about what's going on with the fight against Galactus, the big bad of this season. Over at Stark Springs, Stark has been working on jetpacks and battle buses, but wait for it, with nukes. If you remember in 14.20, I hinted at Rebuild Railway turning into a new POI, and this is the update to become that. The 7 have remade this POI, and it now goes by 7 Solitude. Keep this in mind as well, as this POI will become important later on. Thanks to the new revamp of Rebuild Railway into the 7 Solitude, and Stark being on good terms with the scientists, production of weapons and anything related to the fight against Galactus has improved. This should be shown in gameplay by weapons or items that relate to the fight, such as Stark's rifle, having an increased chance of being found in chests. And now for the final update of the season, 14.60. Tensions rise as the fight for reality is upon us. Tony has prepared hundreds of battle buses, Thor has been traveling across realities, recruiting allies thanks to the Seven's technology. The rest of the Battle Pass skins and collabs, not counting Fortnite, have all been training in preparation. And speaking of collabs, the last collab will be with the Avatar The Last Airbender franchise. Aang and Katara have joined the fight against Galactus. Aang would also have an Avatar state style with his air scooter as an emo, which I would not make built in. Due to them being kids in the original show, I do have to go with the Legend of Korra versions where they're adults. Now, without further ado, let's move on to the event, which isn't going to be very long. So I can't lie, for the event, I'd honestly keep it the same, except for some minor details where to replace some of the Marvel characters with the new collabs. I also have some more stuff going on in the background, such as Aang and Katara freezing parts of Galactus, Tracer popping up and teleporting away, Mancake using explosive syrup or something like that, Mecha Cuddle having our own small mech and flying alongside your bus, etc. I'd also make it so Galactus never really touches the 0 point, but as soon as he reaches the island, you'd be put into a bus and would have to fly up his arm and defeat him before he touches it. I honestly quite like this event, and it doesn't mess too much up with what I intend to do, so honestly this event will basically stay the same. Alright, let's move on to Season 5 then. Okay, so you probably noticed something about Season 4, and that thing is my Chapter 2 Season 4 was Season 5 and 4 mixed together, which means, what the hell happens now? Well, between my Season 4 and 5, the 0 point has been taken as being looked after by the 7. Normally this would gain attention of the Imagined Order, however I think after 4 consecutive seasons of pure war, we're going to take a break from that. The Imagined Order have set up bases over the island, but they aren't going to attack or do anything until Season 6, as the 7 have possession of the 0 point, and that would be too risky for the Imagined Order to do anything right now. Season 5 will be a chill, take a breather kind of season, while the Imagined Order think of a plan. Before we move on to the updates, let's quickly look at the Battle Pass and look at some map changes. Chapter 2 Season 5 had the Hunter theme, however this is not that Season 5 at all, so what I'm doing is replacing some skins with a more wintry feel. I also have to do this section anyways because Mancake is a Season 4 skin now. Any skins replaced will still be added to the game eventually. This is just to make the Battle Pass have a more Christmassy feel compared to the original. Anyway, starting off, Tier 1 is Globe Shaker, Tier 23 is Cutie Pie, Tier 29 is Condor, Tier 41 is Maeve, Tier 60 is Mr. Dapperman, Tier 73 is Lexa, Tier 100 is Mandalorian, and the secret skin would be Krampus. Moving on with map changes, Unpleasant Valley becomes a little more pleasant. It now has snow all over the place and Christmas decorations on the houses and on the streets. Sweaty Sands has been frozen over, it now goes by the name of Snowy Slides. A couple POIs also now have Christmas trees and winter decorations. Santa's Sleigh is a landmark which you can visit, and Crackshot's house is back on the island. The desert is now an icy wasteland, frozen over due to the weather and the removal of the 0 point. Butterbarn has expanded further into the icy desert and has now become a full POI instead of a landmark. Alright, 15.0, let's start off with some changes from the original Season 5. Originally, NPCs would be added in this update, but I already had an NPC in Season 3 being Kit, and more in Season 4, so we're just gonna act like they existed since Season 3. Exotics are also no longer locked to NPCs. I've always hated this and I still do. I don't like going out of my way to buy an item which is the original with an extra gimmick, wasting bars and then losing it because little Timmy decided to sweat his ass off. They will still be available through NPCs, but they won't be locked to them. They'll be available through rare chests as well in order to still keep them special while also not making them annoying to get. I'm going to keep Stark Springs along with his jetpack, even though Tony wouldn't be on the island as an NPC or boss. His AI henchman would also be there still. In Chapter 2, Epic had a tendency to remove anything collab related after each season, but that rule was broken in Chapter 3, since they kept Daily Bugle in the game for 2.5 seasons before removing it in 21.40, so I'm doing it too. When it comes to new items, we've got Mando's jetpack and sniper rifle, the boom sniper, the shadow tracker, and the dub. When it comes to unvaulted items, we have the heavy assault rifle, the tactical AR, and the tac shotgun, and when it comes to vaulted items, we have almost every mythic from Season 4, with the exception of Mancake's healing syrup. In the original Season 5, Operation Snowdown started with this update, however, I didn't really like Operation Snowdown. I think Epic themselves have just realized that Winterfest is just far superior to it. So instead of Operation Snowdown, this would just be a regularly scheduled Winterfest. Since 2021 had a No Way Home collab and 2019 had a Star Wars collab, 2021 would have a Wonder Woman 1984 collab. Therefore, all three big franchises have had a winter collab. Winterfest would start and end on the same days. In terms of new items, the leather shotgun would be added as well as the snowy flopper and the big chill. And for unvaults, you'd get the usual Christmas items along with the X4 Stormwing returning. It would still have fuel, but instead of normally fueling it on the ground, you would fuel it by flying through rings in the sky. Think of it like Air Royale. And obviously the map would be fully made of snow on December 24th and December 25th. 15.20 Hot Rock Dualies would be added and Krampus would be teased. 15.21 Krampus is added as a boss at Unpleasant Valley. His mythic would be the bag he uses to kidnap children. The interior of some houses would be pretty racked as well. 15.30 Mando's Bounty LTM would be added. Kit's Cantina would be added as a landmark and the exotic chug cannon added too. The 7 begins messing with the 0 point and ends up transforming the base into something more aquatic. The 7th Solitude is turned into Coral Kingdom, and it's an actual kingdom this time, not like whatever it was in the actual Chapter 2. 0 point is now back out in full force above Coral Kingdom. Over the final few weeks of the season, the 0 point will begin to destabilize more, and every 5 days we get more stuff that hints to Last Reality arriving, until the eventual release of Chapter 2 Season 6. And yes, I said the Last Reality, which means yes, you can praise the Lord that in this alternate universe, Primal would not exist. Okay, so believe it or not, this is the end of Season 5. It wasn't much, but I think it's perfectly fine to have one bad or meh season. Plus, it really wasn't meant to be much anyways, it was meant to be a chill Christmas season. Now, if I was rewriting the actual Season 5, I'd have a lot more to work with, but I'm not, so what can you do? Again, I know it's not great, but no chapter is entirely perfect, so with that said, Season 6, here we go. Okay, so you probably think I'm skipping ahead a bit here, but just let me explain. Even though I did like the original Chapter 2 Season 6, most people didn't. And I'm in a position here where I can very easily skip ahead. I think the game would thrive more if we skipped Primal, which wasn't even really important anyways, and went straight to Invasion. With that out of the way and addressed, let's move on to the story. In between Season 5 and 6, there'd be a slight time skip. In the story trailer, we get flashbacks to 4 previous times, all times when the 0 point has been damaged or let out bursts of energy. One from Chapter 1 Season 9's final showdown event, one from Season X's end event, one from Chapter 2 Season 3's event, and the final one being from Chapter 2 Season 5. This would lead into revealing the Last Reality and how they found out about the 0 point. Back to the present, and the Last Reality has been invading the island for about 3 months now. The IO and the 7 have unwillingly had to team up because they simply had no choice, which puts a stop in their own war for now. To make this simpler, I'll be referring to this side as the Imagined 7. As of now, the 0 point belongs to the Imagined 7 and is being held over in Coral Kingdom, which has gained an updated look in order to protect the 0 point effectively, but the ownership of the 0 point could be subject to change. Over the course of the season, we'll be getting voice line quests that in turn reveal the plan to the players, but also show how unstable the team up between the IO and the 7 really is. These voice line quests will be voiced by Agent Jones and the Scientist. The Scientist will give you the basic plan and any updates on it, while Jones will discuss the problems going on over at the Imagined 7. There'll be an event at the end of the season to wrap up the story. However, speaking of Jones and the Scientist, since the normal Season 6 Battle Pass is too radically different, we do have to change it again. Starting off, Tier 1 would be Agent Jones, Tier 23 would be Core, Tier 29 would be Imagined with Order as an edit style, just because the skins aren't different enough in my opinion to warrant 2 skins. Tier 41 would be Lieutenant John Lama, Tier 60 would be Gunner, Tier 73 would be Dr. Sloan, Tier 100 would be Foundation, and the secret skin would be the Q Queen. Starting off with content for 16.0, the Q is back with about 6 of them on the map, each spread across different locations. Haunted Hedges and Stark Springs have been abducted and replaced with high-tech alien facilities with the Chimera soldiers guarding both of them. Kit has been mind-controlled by the aliens, and he now attacks on sight. Catty Corner has also been slightly updated to be an alien propaganda POI. Perfect Path, Coral Kingdom, Flotilla Sea, and Unpleasant Valley are being guarded by the Imagined 7. Snowy Slides is halfway melted and now goes by Slippery Slides. Imagined Order bases have been rebranded to involve the 7 as well. These are the map changes for now, but expect more POIs to be affected later through the season. When it comes to new weapons, for 600 gold you can buy Sloane's Mythic Pulse Rifle from her, or you can find it in rare chests. There's also a normal pulse rifle you can find in normal chests, or you can buy from Sloane for 200 gold. Recon Scanner and railguns have been added. There's also new sideways weapons, such as the sideways rifle and sideways minigun, which are obtained through sideways portals. Moving on to unvaults, mounted turrets are back, but only at specific Imagine 7 bases. The tactical shotgun and hand cannon have also been unvaulted. Shadow stones are also back. And finally, for vaulted items, the lever action shotgun has been vaulted. Moving on to 16.10, the first set of voice line quests have been released. The scientist tells you the plan is to use 0-point energy effectively to push the last reality back to where they came from. The problem is the Imagine 7 have no idea where the last reality came from, and so the scientist sends you to figure it out. Over the course of the questline, more details will be revealed, such as the plan is to take place 2 weeks from the first set of quests release, which would be 16.20. Another quest would be to help regulate the 0-point energy over at Coral Kingdom by collecting shards that had fallen into the ground which changed the 7th Solitude into Coral Kingdom. At the end of the questline, it'd be revealed that one of the shards is missing, and that would lead to part 2 in 16.20. Abductors would also be on the map. I don't think I need to explain this too much, you know how these work most likely. Zyg and Choppy are now on the map as well and have a new ray gun. They are a boss, so you will have to defeat them to get it. Chili Chug Splashes are also now a thing that exists. The inflatable would also be added in a content update the following week. The cubes will also begin moving and reproducing. The second set of voice line quests released, Jones is talking in this one and reveals to the player that things are only gotten worse over at the Imagine 7. Jones talks about how they managed to identify the leader of the last reality as the Cube Queen and how she launched a successful attack on Coral Kingdom, taking over not only that POI but the 0-point with it. Jones mentions that Sloan and the Foundation keep arguing over what to do, and the scientist is struggling to work with the science department side of the IO to come up with a new plan. The IO's combat department is also reportedly struggling to work with the Imagined, and the final reveal is that the Origin has gone missing again and no one knows where to find him. The quests will have you see to helping different IO departments to make sure they're doing better, and speaking to different 7 members about what they know on the Origin. Coral Kingdom has been overtaken after an attack by Last Reality. The 0-point has been taken and now belongs to Last Reality. Butterbarn has also been overtaken. Mancake now sports a purple and moldy style. No Chimera are guarding it, but Mancake is a boss and will attack on sight. Butterbarn has been updated to look more alien-like. The cubes have moved themselves to the center of the island and are charging themselves up. Content this update would consist of UFOs being added and the plasma cannon. A sideways scythe would also be included, which would be obtained by defeating the caretaker in different sideways balls. The third set of voice line quests have been released. The scientist brings an update that reveals things are looking slightly better for the Imagine 7. They overtook Caddy Corner and saved Kit. He's now an NPC again and will not attack unless provoked. Western Wheats and Deadly Docks now belong to the Imagine 7 too. However, the scientist still doesn't have a plan, so he gets you to steal details on the aliens so that he can create a plan and try to present it to the IO's science department. Over the course of multiple quests, you'll gain a basic idea of a plan. The cubes begin production on what seems to be a pyramid for the Cube Queen, speaking of whom, should also become available for your locker in this update. In terms of content, however, the Grabatron and Propify are added, with the combat shotgun and grappler being unvaulted. This is the final update before the big event. The final set of voice line quests are released. Agent Jones gives you a final update on the state of the Imagine 7. He says how it's no longer doing as bad as it was, but it's still not very good. From what he's heard, there's suspicion surrounding the 7 and how they might be planning to betray the IO, but he doesn't believe it, so he's ignoring it. His quests will have you see to final preparations for the plan that, according to him, is dubbed Operation Grounded. The main idea is to have 2 teams, one team fighting on the ground and overtaking their land, while one team goes up to the mothership, taking the fight to them. Jones's mission is to make sure planes and any other equipment is properly equipped for the final fight, which he gets you to help with. Moving on to gameplay, the Brutes are back along with Drunk Riffs and Riftigos, and there's a new Burst Pulse Rifle. The final map change for this season, the Imagine 7's land remains unchanged, but Last Reality is taking over a few more POIs, such as Slippery Slides, Corrupted Cliffs, and Misty Meadows. They've also planted cubes at each POI under their control. It's finally time to decide the fate of the island. The pre-event will have the players be stationed at an underground IO facility. Once the event starts, you'll be giving a debriefing and you'll have to pick a team. The choice is between the ground team or the mothership team. Each team has a limit of 25 players. If you're in a party, you'll either go onto the team the majority of the party is selected, or if it's half and half, a team will just be randomly picked. This is where things get a little complicated because there'll be 2 different stories for each team. I'll start with the ground team and then move on to the mothership team. If you're on the ground team, you'll be going with the 7. The ground team is to take down both factories and then to fight their way over to the pyramid where you'll fight the Cube Queen as a team. However, this is where the plan fails. The Cube Queen has been charging up throughout the event. The battle will take at least 5 minutes with different phases, but you can never actually win this battle. Instead, the Cube Queen will wipe out so much of your team that, by the way, the people she will wipe out are bots, that you'll be forced to retreat it. On the other hand, if you're on the Mothership team, Sloane will send her elite squad with you, but will command you over the radio. At one point, the elite squad leaves you, but you won't be told why. The rest would basically play out like Operation Skyfire. The mothership will blow up, but with you inside. Foundation overhears this on the radio and will try to intercept it, but Sloane will be able to cut him out, and the mothership will blow up, causing massive damage to the island that can be actually seen if you're on the ground team. The rest of the event is a cutscene that is the same for both teams. We go back a few minutes earlier to when the Elite Squad left the Mothership team. It's revealed that the Elite Squad was secretly tasked with teleporting the Zero Point to a secret IO base, giving them complete control of the Zero Point. The Seventh storm into the IO base they were operating in to confront Sloane about this, but she is already expecting this, and before Foundation can hurt her, she teleports away to the secret IO base. She tells the Elite Squad to hit the flip button, and as a result, the island is flipped. Huntmaster tells her that's a bad idea, considering that it belongs to the Seven, but she responds that she isn't worried. We get the final look at the island as it flips over, and that's where Chapter 2 ends and Chapter 3 begins. Okay, so, I know this wasn't expected, but I've thought about this, and I think that 6 seasons is the perfect amount for a chapter. The problem with Chapter 2 is it's got a lot of good ideas, but it either spends too little or too long on them, with some seasons just ending up feeling like complete filler, aka Primal. When I got this idea, I set out not to make a perfect chapter, because that's just impossible, but to make a chapter that would be liked, and would fix most of the issues that people had with Chapter 2. And I feel like I did just that. The first part of this project got a lot of support that I'm grateful for, because that first part alone took a long time to make. I'm not making this to say I'm better than Epic, not at all. I'm making this because I feel like Chapter 2 had a lot of good ideas in it, but it was never fully tapped into. Which makes me sad, because if it was, it would have been a great chapter. I'm not going to sit here and act like it was still good either way, because it wasn't. Every time I look back at that chapter, I get annoyed, because it's just sad to see some genuinely good ideas go to waste. When I first started writing Part 2, it was Chapter 3 Season 3. I didn't finish it until Chapter 3 Season 4, and we weren't sure on what the next season was going to be, Chapter 4 or Chapter 3 Season 5. Personally, I wish it was Chapter 3 Season 5. 4 seasons is way too short for a chapter, and as of writing this, and hopefully probably by the time this video goes up, it's January 2023. Epic has not been great for the past month, making some interesting moves with the item shop and having some massive L's with things like fucking up the Creative 2.0 livestream. And don't even get me started on Fracture, that is a whole other fucking topic. But despite this, I don't know if I'm going to rewrite Chapter 3. With the upcoming Pokemon Retrospect series I plan on doing, and with a bunch of IRL stuff, as well as not wanting to seem like I despise this game, I can't confirm anything, but if I do decide to do it, I will say so. I do want to thank everyone for the support on this project though. Like I said, it's been fun to make. This should be my last big video for a while while I work on Pokemon, so hopefully I can get back to making stupid random videos for a bit. Share, like, and subscribe, because this really did take a long time to make, and I'd like as much support as possible. Thank you everyone for watching, and I'll see you next time.